Did you know that small businesses make up 99.7% of U.S. firms? But what condition are they in? We'll discuss the state of small businesses on Talking with Henrietta, coming up next. Hi, I'm Henrietta. Welcome to the show. We often hear in the news about major corporations and the issues they face. But did you know that small businesses, companies that employ less than 500 people, employ nearly half of this country's workforce? They also account for more than 60% of new job listings in the private sector. Minority-owned businesses make up a little over 20% of the nation's small businesses. On this show, we'll talk about some of the issues the owners of small businesses face and how you can start one if that's on your list of things to do. Crystal Rasmussen is seated on my left. Crystal is the program coordinator for the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, a nonprofit organization which helps entrepreneurs to start and grow their businesses. Crystal has worked as an accountant for several years, and now in her current position, she focuses on small business development and helps the center's clients start and maintain their businesses. Naomi Echols is a personal stylist who was one of Crystal's clients at the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center. She started her own business called Envy Style this year, and she's currently developing her company's online presence. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Crystal, I mentioned that you were formerly an accountant.
Yeah.
Why did you leave accounting?
Why did I leave accounting? Well, when I was going to college, it was something that I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that there's always jobs in accounting. So that kind of just naturally fit, and I was good with numbers, and I did that for several years. And then I just realized that I wanted to be out in the world doing stuff and working with people. I'm a people person. So it wasn't natural for me to sit behind a cubicle for 8 hours a day and crunching numbers, although I enjoyed the job, but it wasn't fulfilling me in my soul and what I wanted to do. So I reached out to some people that I knew through Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center to see if they had any openings. And it was a natural fit because my husband's a small business owner himself, and so I had some experience in that, as well as I helped run a restaurant for many years as a second job while I was doing accounting. So it was a natural fit, and I wanted to do something that had a social impact and that worked with people, and to really see somebody like Naomi go from the idea stage to launching their business.
So Naomi, how long have you thought about starting a business?
Thought about it? Oh goodness. It's always been a thought, actually. I don't remember a time where I didn't want to be my own boss. So for at least 10 years, but I just didn't know how to do it.
And what made you decide to start?
I decided to believe in myself. I decided to believe in the God-given gift that I feel like is within me and share it with the world.
And what's that gift?
I am an awesome stylist. I teach people how to, one, take the body that they have and work it and share it with the world in a very classy and a professional way.
And that means?
And that means, representing you. There are so many people who are unhappy with how they look, and so they cover themselves, and that's okay. But don't cover because you're unhappy, cover because that's what you want to do. But let's figure out how to identify your style. Let's figure out how you can take what's in your closet and do business and life in style.
Well, I must say that's fascinating.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Crystal, Naomi came to you with the idea. I assume that's what happened.
Yeah, she came to Renaissance. Yeah.
And what are the steps?
So the steps were she reached out to us and was interested in our classes, and then came to orientation. And the orientation basically just goes over who Renaissance is, what we are, and who we serve, and what you can expect to get out of the class and the program. And then from that, she started the 4-week class, which is Start Smart, and that basically takes you through like your mission and your vision, your what and your why, and kind of identifies who your market will be and your customers. And then from that, you go into the 10-week program. So it's a total of 14 if you complete the start to finish. And in the 10-week program is really where you get your business plan. You get to work with a marketing consultant, a finance consultant that come in and teach, financial projections. And at the end of the 14 weeks, you have a comprehensive business plan.
So Naomi, having gone through all of that, and when did you complete the coursework?
So I am a new graduate, if you will. I just finished the class in June. So I'm.
That's really very
so
new.
It's still fresh and on fire.
Still working.
So in the process, what was it all encouragement along the way, or was there a point you looked and said, I don't know if I can do that?
Yes,
Yes?
there was. But the great thing about Renaissance is that they teach you how to work your ideas. And one of the things that was key for me with Renaissance is learning how to be flexible with your ideas. I mean, you come to Renaissance, you say, this is what I want, this is exactly how it's going to be done, this is how I'm going to distribute my items or my product. And then they kind of throw these things at you and say, okay, well, what if that doesn't work? How else can you, get your product out? And how else will you get your name out? And then you're like, uh-oh, I don't really know. And so they introduce how to have an open and a flexible mind in getting your business out there and getting your ideas out there, so that if your plan A doesn't work, that you don't fall, that you don't fail. But plan B and C can also take you there.
How do you have an open and flexible mind when you're thinking of starting a business?
I just think there's so many components that go into owning a business, especially here in the Bay Area. Commercial, we'll probably get into a little bit about commercial space, but there's such a lack of affordable space here. So businesses are coming up with other ways to make revenue or to sell, whether it be online, through different platforms. I mean, you can even have a social media presence and be a business. An Instagram, Facebook.
So you don't have to be brick and mortar.
Right.
Well, we know now what's happening with brick and mortar stores. Is this something you're running out of your house?
It is not. I operate a storage, and so when I order items,
You operate a storage?
Yeah.
Which means?
I hold a storage. I have a storage where I keep my items.
You have a
to hang
storage
them.
unit someplace.
To keep them clean, to keep them, the smell fresh, and all. These are all things that you kind of have to worry about, because one thing about having items in your home, you have these trucks that are coming and dropping and delivering all the time, and so you have residents who are going crazy because UPS keeps coming to your house delivering stuff. So you kind of have to figure that out, which is, again, another way of being open on how you're getting your products, how you're distributing your products, where you're keeping your products. So these are
you
things
doing
that,
this full time?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
your business you're doing full time.
Yes. There's not a day that I am not working my business.
Yes, but you just started in June.
Yes.
So do you have another job?
I do.
Is it a full-time job?
It is.
And so you're working this on the side every day after your full-time job.
I put in at least 6 hours in my business a day.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, what time do you start your regular job?
I started at 7. My mornings start between 3:30 and 4 a.m.
On your regular job?
Just in the morning. Whether I get up and pack orders and respond to email. I mean.
So when do you end your regular job?
It ends at 4.
So you go off someplace to your regular job, and then you come home and you work 6 hours on your business.
Yep.
Do you have orders already?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So how did you generate those?
So Envy Styles started with a pre-launch. And so what that was is I personally invited 10 to 12 ladies to purchase items from my website, from my online store. And I wanted to first, before I ordered a bunch of stuff, just see how they liked it, see what the response would be. And sure enough, I sold out, thankfully. And so then the second launch was, okay, how about you guys invite your friends? Because I didn't want them to feel like they had to buy and base my business off of friends and family, because they can't hold my business. So I wanted them to invite people that I didn't know or that they just knew, to see what the feedback would be from people who I didn't know outside the community, people you work with, grocery store people. And thankfully that did well. And so it gave me a little bit more hope. Each time I did a pre-launch, it gave me a little bit more hope just to go ahead and continue to believe in that.
So are you, is it a mail order business?
It is.
It's a mail order business. And how do people hear of you?
So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I beat the pavement, if you will. I pass out flyers, I walk university and let people know I'm here, because my business is so new, and you know, they're like, who's Envy Style? Who is this girl Naomi?
And you have this unusual spelling. It's what? N apostrophe V-Y-D.
Yes.
And how did you come up with that?
Honestly, so I was, originally my name was going to be Style and Grace. But when I did the search, someone already had that name, and I was just so bummed.
Or you could have said Style and Grace Inc. or Style and...
But that's not what I want. Like, I just wanted to be Style and Grace, right? Because there's this song by Notorious B.I.G. where he says, welcome, you know, all the ladies in the place with Style and Grace. And that was kind of going to be my tag. And so when it did work, I was so bummed about it, but I had to have an open mindset. And so one of my girlfriends, I call her DT, she's like, everybody envies everything that you have and your style. Like, everybody just kind of want to like look like you and your outfits. And I was like, not really. And then I heard it from someone else, and that envy just kind of stuck out. And of course, E-N-V-Y was already taken, and so
everything's already taken.
I know, but I had, but leave it to me to come up with this idea. And so I was just writing. I was like, Lord, I need you to, you know, open it up or let me know or figure it out. And sure enough, the next day, my mom, who is also a business owner in East Palo Alto, and my brother, who is an entrepreneur, I sent them a text. I was like, what do you guys think? NVYD was like, I love it, go with it. And the next day, on my lunch hour, I went down and I said, does anybody have this name?
I doubt it.
Yeah, no, and that's what the lady said, I've never seen it, but I love it. I love it,
good.
And I want a shirt.
And did it ever occur to you that maybe people might wonder, how do you pronounce N apostrophe?
Yes.
Y-D?
Yes, but it would also allow me to tell them who I am. If you're asking me a question about what is this or how is it spelled or why, it's allowing me the opportunity.
If you are face-to-face with people.
Whether it's face-to-face or your social media, I mean, I come across things, I'm like, what is that? And I might ask someone, hey, have you heard about this, or who is this, or what is it? How do you pronounce that? I mean, it's just an opportunity to let somebody know who you are. And if they're asking about you, sure enough, you'll have the opportunity to tell people who you are.
Well, Naomi certainly is a very enthusiastic client to have in a class. Yeah. Are the others you get like Naomi?
I would say majority of them are. Yes, they're. Yeah, I mean, she could speak more to the class. She was there every single class for the full 14 weeks, but yeah, we have enthusiastic people.
So who comes up with the program, the classwork?
The curriculum. So the curriculum is developed through our corporate staff and our expert consultants, and you know, every few or couple years it's redeveloped or assessed to see, you know, there's things that change or trends that change. So we're always trying to keep it up and fresh.
So Naomi, you won't be able to stay with us for the whole time that we're talking. You can let us know when you need to leave us.
Okay.
So in the meantime, I think we need to find out everything you can share.
Okay.
So at what stage do you expect your business to get? Or what would you want it to get? Will you still maintain your full-time job?
That is not my hope.
I don't guess it's any entrepreneur's hope who
No,
who's a small business owner. Huh?
The plan is to definitely leave where I am to fully operate my business. Obviously, it takes time. It takes building, and I'm so fresh, into the business, just a couple of months, and so I have a 5-year plan, and so prayerfully, that 5-year plan will allow me to leave where I am.
So how will you know when it's time to go? I mean, right now you're putting in 6 hours. When you've replaced your income or completely?
Not only that, when I've replaced the income, when the store is at a steady place, hitting a 90% steady rate, steady sale.
And it'll always be online?
No.
Oh.
No. So well, yes, it will always be online, but then we'll have additional places where you can come. I do pop-up shops throughout the community, sometimes in East Palo Alto. The next one will be offered at Studio 364, which is in Mountain View. And
So what's a pop-up shop?
A pop-up shop is where I go into a salon or someone's office, and I bring my items to your salon or to your store, and I pop up for some hours, and I sit there and I let people know that I'm there for certain hours. Sometimes there's a pop-up special.
And you have to pay for...
Sometimes there's a drop fee, but I have been so blessed with people from Studio 364 and the salon in Hayward. They have not allowed me to pay anything. They're just like, you know what, I want to see you do well, so come whenever you want to. Pop up Executive Hair Suites in Hayward. Those two have been.
And how do you know when you pop up like that what to bring?
Oh, so I mean, you kind of get a feel for, so we're getting ready to go into fall, which means that now people are looking for things to be on sale for the summer. So I'll know to kind of cater the next pop-up shop around sale items for the summer and new and fresh arrivals for the fall. So I'll be advertising fall things, but I'll also be advertising the great sale that I'll be having for the summer items.
Well, again, Naomi's very enthusiastic. It seems all very thought out. So how many, well, let's first talk about the business climate. You've been working with would-be entrepreneurs now for what, 4 years?
About 4 years, yeah.
Tell me or tell us the type of changes you've seen, or have you seen changes in those 4 years?
Yeah, definitely. So, like I mentioned earlier, there's so many opportunities for entrepreneurs now with the access to technology. I mean, you can have a business through an app. So I think a lot of the change that we've seen also in the Bay Area is brick and mortars isn't really the norm as much anymore due to lack of affordable commercial space. I think that's a #1 challenge here in the Bay Area. And then if they have the space, the rent, and then being able to afford to live here too, I've seen it as a challenge.
And I would think for the brick and mortar stores that are already here, since so many people more and more people are ordering online,
Right, exactly.
it might not be the most practical thing to have one location.
Yeah, and I think, as Naomi mentioned, the pop-up shops, you see a lot more of that. We actually have the community marketplaces in East Palo Alto that we started with Renaissance last year, and that we are going to start again. We're actually going to have our clients at the Blues Festival on August 4th and 5th. So that's an opportunity for those that don't have a brick and mortar for a business like Naomi to come and have their pop-up.
Naomi mentioned pop-up, and you mentioned that this is something that Renaissance has, that you've noticed. Is it, I mean, do other businesses have pop-ups? Well, where did this idea of popping up come from?
I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but I know it's been around for a few years now. I think certain restaurants do it. So food trucks will rent out a kitchen, and they get a following through either Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, basically through social media. I'm not sure exactly how she lets her clients know where she's going to be, but I know other clients have put put social media posts out there. We're going to be located at such and such address.
How do you rent out a kitchen? I would think whoever it is that has the kitchen, if it's a restaurant, would be busy.
Well, some restaurants aren't always open every day of the week. So I worked at a restaurant for many years, and we were closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. So that's an opportunity for the restaurants to not be open, but to also make revenue. And then it gives the other client or business owner an opportunity to run their business out of a kitchen that, they don't have that overhead, but they would have to pay a rental fee.
Sure. Now, Naomi, since you're on a time schedule,
Yes.
what is it that you would like to share with us that we haven't talked about?
I'd like to just reinforce that Renaissance is a great place to start. If you don't know where to start, how to start, or even thinking about starting, I think Renaissance is a great place to start.
What has been your biggest challenge, your biggest concern thus far?
The biggest challenge, I would say, there's so many online businesses. And so when you are new, everybody is trying to figure out why to buy from you. And for online stores who are not, who may not have the greatest character integrity, you have to go above and beyond to prove that you are a business, with character, you are a business with integrity, and that you deliver on your word. And so it's not a challenge because that's who I am, but it is a challenge to have people, want to buy into you because they've bought into other people that just didn't
And how do
go
you
well.
do that?
I mean, I let them see me. My social media pages are open. When I am out and about, I just naturally be me.
But
And
you're not live streaming anything.
I don't live stream anything. It's been recommended for me to do like live shows and to get on YouTube and stuff like that. But that's a little bit of, all that editing and stuff.
Not yet.
That's not my gift just yet. But, the other thing with Renaissance that I've learned is building a team. And so if I have a team, then they can help me to, do the videos on YouTube and do the live streaming that would make me be more successful in the long run.
It's my understanding that you could live stream to YouTube, so you don't have to do editing.
You probably can. It looks like you know a little bit more than me.
No. But anyway, how do you put that team together?
Well,
That would be the hardest thing, getting the right people and being able to pay them.
Yes. I have a great photographer, a great social media person, and she does everything out of love. She's been one of my great friends for a very long time, and she does my photos. Sometimes I pay her with either an item or whatever it is, a dinner. I mean, it is a great feeling to have somebody who believes in you enough to work for you, and just to say, I just want to see you do well. And right now, I'm surrounded by those kind of people.
That's terrific. Terrific.
Yeah.
Yes, let us know when you have to go.
Yes. I don't know exactly.
We don't want to push you away.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me here. I've
Well,
enjoyed you
Naomi,
too.
thank you. It's
Yes.
been enjoyable
Yes.
having you.
Thank you.
And we'll
Thank
miss you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Naomi. Thank
Bye-bye.
So now that Naomi has left us, let's talk about what challenges. Hers was a very successful story so far, but what kind of challenges do those who are just starting a business face?
I think a lot of it has to do with mindset as well. That's one challenge that we try to target in the first 4 weeks of our class is getting the person to have the mindset of an entrepreneur, changing it from the employee standpoint to employer. A lot of people know how to maybe design or create, style, make the cookie, but they don't know how to sell the cookie or figure out exactly the finances that go behind it. So that's where we come in and we say, okay, you have this passion. Well, let's try to turn this passion into profit. And how do we do that? So what are the steps? So we do it really step by steps. Our consultants are really hands-on with them. They're available to them.
How do you change that mindset?
I think it's a process. I think
And what's the mindset of an employer versus the mindset of an employee?
personally, if I were to answer that question, I would think that maybe not necessarily employer, but maybe business owner. Let's change it from employee to business owner. Knowing that my husband is a small business owner, he doesn't have the typical 9 to 5. A lot of employees get to go home and sometimes take their job home, but a lot of times, you know, you're off the clock. We were just in vacation last week, and you know, he's in insurance, so he was getting calls and things, so he has to pull up his computer while we're on vacation. So it's kind of, you know, like she said, she's working these hours, and it's from the time you get up until the time you go to bed. And so it's really changing.
7 days a week.
7 days a week a lot of times. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's, like she said, you know, you're your own boss, which is really important to some people. And then just their passion, that they're able to share, you know, their passion of what it is that they're doing with others.
So what's the most important thing, I'm thinking, for an entrepreneur in terms of mindset? What is it that determines, or is there something that determines who will succeed in terms of mindset and who might face more obstacles?
I think it has to do a lot with believing in yourself, the mindset of knowing that you're capable of doing it. We get a lot of quotes from our entrepreneurs of, you know, what do you feel Renaissance has helped you in? And we see them saying that I am now able to believe that I can do it too. It's very risky to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, it is.
Especially when
Yes,
you
it
go into it
is.
full, you know, with leaving your job.
Especially in the Bay Area with the
Especially in the
high
Bay
cost
Area.
of living.
Yeah. And we see our clients are working full-time jobs and doing their business on the side until they can scale to the point of deciding, okay, well, you know, now I'm at a place where this can sustain me.
How do you know that? What I'm thinking of, given the climate and given the risk, things can change at any moment.
Right? Yeah, they can. I think planning, preparing. The more you plan and prepare, the better you are. There's a quote.
But there are things that you can't plan for.
Right. Well, there are, like, things that happen, natural disasters, but make sure you have insurance.
Insurance that will pay off, because sometimes what you need when you need the insurance the most is when they say, "Oh, the insurance doesn't cover that."
Yeah, I mean, and really having the resources, I think, and that's what we do with Renaissance, is we don't have all the answers. You know, we're not experts on everything, but we're like the map. So we'll refer out to other nonprofits or other organizations that can help in certain areas. And as long as you're getting the help that you need, a certain resource might be able to help in those situations.
So what are the biggest obstacles for business owners? You mentioned space, trying to find the space,
Right.
and once found, whether it
Affordable.
would be, yes,
Yeah.
affordable space.
Right.
Are there problems with technology?
Yes, so as fast as our technology is growing, we see a number of clients that just don't have the experience or education to understand or know what is available to them. I think technology assistance, technology training is huge. If they can get into some type of workshops and things that are offered, that would be good. Another challenge is access to capital, funding. Small business owners usually start with zero capital, and having the access to be able to get loans is difficult.
So I would think, given the risk anyway that business owners face, it's even riskier if you're going to get a loan.
It can be. A lot of traditional banks, they won't even consider you unless you've been in business for 2 years, and then they want to look at your financials. We do work with micro lenders that will lend, and one of the lenders that we work with is Kiva, and they're a crowd funding.
KIVA? Or?
KIVA, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you said crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding, yes.
So is that like GoFundMe?
It's similar to GoFundMe in the sense that you have a profile and you're asking people to, give to your campaign. The difference is when you lend to Kiva, if I were to lend to a business, I would get my $25 back or however much you would lend to them. So you're not just donating the money, you're investing into their business. And then when they start paying the loan back, it's when you start getting paid back.
So what happens with an idea or a business like Kiva, you present your plan, people maybe buy into it by giving a certain amount of money, with the expectation that they'll be repaid with a certain amount of interest, or how does that work?
So Kiva is a 0% interest. So if I were to apply for a Kiva loan, it would be at 0% interest if I were to be approved. And I would have the responsibility to get, I think it's 10 to 15 lenders of my friends and family. And basically that's your credibility. So you're telling Kiva that these people are behind me in my business.
Do they actually have to put the money there?
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a minimum?
$25.
Per person?
Yes.
As a minimum?
Right.
And does that affect how much money you can request as a loan?
So prior to getting your lenders, Kiva will decide that. They'll decide the loan amount, yeah.
Now, that's one resource. What are some other resources?
So we work with Working Solutions and Opportunity Fund, which are both microlenders as well. And they do loans from $2,500 to, I think, $25,000 or $250,000.
Oh, my.
So on a higher scale, but then there are more requirements.
So who gets a loan for $250,000? And you haven't had any of those in your class yet?
It's possible.
In the past 4 years?
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, we do have 4 sites across the Bay Area, so I work predominantly with the peninsula. But it's possible that one of our other sites our clients have received a loan for that. I don't have that number.
Would they be maybe a technology company with an app they're trying to fund?
Then I don't think so. I would think more along the lines of maybe a restaurant that's trying to scale, or one of our clients is Three Twins Ice Cream, and they were out of our Marin office.
Three Twins Ice Cream.
Yeah, you'll find them in Safeway.
It's on the market?
It's on the market. You can find it in Safeway, all over the place, yeah. So something like they started off small.
And what's so special about Three Twins, given all of the ice cream that's on the market now?
I haven't tried it.
Oh, I won't tell anyone. We'll all be going home looking it up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I haven't actually tried the ice cream, but I hear it's really good.
Yeah, it comes in twins. Next thing you'll have 3 triplets.
Yeah.
And so, supposedly now, there is a high failure rate for small businesses. In the past 4 years of the businesses that have been launched, how many have not succeeded thus far?
We actually, from our clients, have a really high successful businesses that launch. I believe the numbers are like 49% of our clients that actually launch into business. 96% of them stay in business.
So when we talk about 49%, how many clients do you get during the year?
So for Renaissance in EPA in East Palo Alto, we serve Santa Clara County all the way to Daly City. So we serve Santa Clara County and the whole peninsula, and we serve about 500 clients. So that's how many we serve a year.
Just the East Palo Alto location?
Just our office, yes.
From, you said in Santa Clara County,
right.
What, San Jose
San
to
Jose
Daly
down
City?
to Daly City, yes.
500 clients?
Yes. 500
Those
clients.
are people who are attending the classes?
Those are the people who are attending the classes, and not all of them obviously launch businesses, but that's how many we serve and come through our programs.
So of those 500, is this in 1 year?
In about 1 year, yeah.
Okay, of those 500, how many actually follow through and launch?
I don't have that number. I don't have that number right now.
Okay. Yeah. Any idea? Speculation?
Um,
Or how many launches have you attended or been a part of?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we actually just had a grand opening in San Jose for one of our businesses, and it's a restaurant, Tortas. I'm gonna butcher the name, so
A restaurant, Mexican restaurant in
yes,
San Jose.
in San Jose, and she just had her grand opening in, I want to say May. Yeah, in May.
And I hesitate to ask what was so special about the food.
With the tortas are specific to the location in Mexico. So that's what makes them different, because they're not just regular tortas from, they're actually specifically targeted from the location in Mexico.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, I think in a previous conversation, you talked about the importance of, for those clients who might come to you from various ethnic groups, what type of requirements do you have? Do people have to be citizens, or?
We don't have any type of requirements. We'll serve anybody. We are a nonprofit, and so our mission is to serve low income, and we'll serve anybody, and we don't have requirements. We do ask that they fill out a form, and we do collect some information on them. Everything is confidential. We just use it for our impact and to know who we're serving. But other than that, no, they don't have to be a citizen. We have a very safe place, atmosphere in all of our classes.
And what type of businesses have people launched? Presumably, I think when you start a business, you're saying, I have something special to give that you can't find anyplace else.
Right.
Either special in the sense of price, special in the sense of what? Uniqueness, or?
Yeah, I think it's definitely uniqueness, something that, like you said, there's a lot of different varieties of things out there. We see a lot of restaurants and service industry businesses, such as people who want to do janitorial work, house cleaning. We've had food trucks come through us. One interesting client came to us, and they wanted to do a food truck. And then one of the challenges that they found was that they didn't have anywhere to store the truck or to clean the truck. So they...
But they could get the truck.
Yeah.
And about how much does it cost to get a truck?
A food truck is about $60,000.
$60,000.
Yeah, it ranges about $60,000.
And so how do you start off getting a food truck at $60,000?
Definitely you can, there's opportunity to lease. You can lease a food truck. You can get a loan to own one. You can have friends and family who want to invest in you.
Okay, so let's say you get over that hurdle. Where can you store a food truck?
Yeah, so they were going through the challenge of not finding close place, and so they actually ended up renting out a warehouse and switching it into a commissary. So now they house 5 other food trucks, and they have an area where they're able to come and clean their trucks and store their trucks. So they made a second business because of the challenge that they found in their business.
And I suppose they assumed that they weren't the only ones with that challenge.
Yeah.
Where do you,
yeah.
Yeah, so where did they, without saying specifically where they went, I'm thinking, where do you go to find a warehouse? It was a warehouse?
It was a warehouse, yes. Yeah.
Where the rent would be cheap enough.
Right.
And you would know, how do you advertise that you have a spot for food trucks?
I'm not sure exactly how you would do the advertising, but I think with them, they probably had a network of individuals, just because I think when you're in an industry, you kind of, meet people and get a feel for what the other challenges are. And they're actually in Redwood City. Successfully, yes.
And how long have they been in business?
They've been in business now for, I think, 4 years.
And this was a client?
Yes, this was the client. Right.
So talk about maybe the most successful client.
The most successful client. I mean, I do feel that 3 Twins is very successful. They came out of our Marin office. We have somebody on the peninsula who's a board member who's very successful, Party Peninsula, and he came through our program.
And this is someone who sells party items?
Yeah, rents party items and sets up at parties and jump houses, linens, anything that has to do with party rentals. We have Julie Cox of The Traveler in Daly City. She's opened her own surf store after going through the business planning class at Renaissance.
Yeah, I would think location. You couldn't open up a surf store on the peninsula, can you?
Well, Daly City is a little bit near the water. Yeah.
And some others that you can think of? Just to give an idea of the range of...
Yeah, I think each business and client that comes through is successful. Whether or not they're, they have no employees, it's themselves, or if they, have more employees, 5 employees and on, I think that the fact that they've started and completed and are in business, that's a success.
Sure, and I think if you've survived, 5 years? Would it be 5 years?
5 years.
Yes. I took some notes myself, and that I don't seem to have. Would not be, I'm sure I have them here someplace. But when it comes to having a business and keeping a business and maintaining a business, one of the things you have to do is hire the right employees. So what are the guidelines do you get into with the clients, how to find the right employees? Or how do you know when you're ready for employees?
Yeah, so I think that you find out when you're ready for employees, and it could be very strategic, it could be creative, such as Naomi when she was here talking about a friend that was helping. You need to be careful, especially when it comes to people who are doing things for your business. So you have to protect yourself. So we actually work with different lawyers that will come in and talk to our clients and hold clinics and really advise them on best practices and contracts and the steps that are needed to hire an employee and workers' compensation and all of the things that are necessary to keep your business safe.
One of the things you're reminding me, one of the things I saw was just government regulation. Some businesses have complained, or some business owners, that one of the hardest things is knowing the city, state, and maybe federal regulations. Is that a hindrance, or?
Yeah.
And you just now talked about the lawyers and protecting yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's important, and we touch on in our classes and our programs, but we aren't experts in that area, so we refer out.
What are the things that people have to protect themselves against as a business owner?
I feel especially if you have employees, you want to make sure that you have all of the things in order to protect yourself, to protect them as well. Contracts, if you have lease agreements at your, where you have a tenancy, it's important to make sure that you read the entire thing and understand it. So I would refer our clients out to lawyers, and we work with a lot of pro bono lawyers and clinics that work with our clients, at no cost to our clients. And we have workshops that before you sign the lease, so it really helps them understand what they're getting into, because that could really be detrimental to your business if you get into something that maybe you didn't quite understand. Things happen.
Where you can get sued.
Right.
By the employee, or you can get sued by the person with whom you're dealing.
Yeah, and then if you're in a lease and in a building, you want to know the exact thing about the lease so that you can know what you're getting into.
So I would think, having gone into business myself, not only is it risky, it's very, very time consuming.
Yeah.
So What's the first thing that people have to be concerned about in the step-by-step process? Is it writing a business plan?
I think every business needs a plan, needs a business plan.
What do you tell people to start with?
In their business?
As a first step, when somebody comes into Renaissance and says, well, we'd like to start a business. After the orientation, what are the steps?
So the first step is, especially if they're at the idea stage, you know, we want, a lot of times, we as individuals have something in our mind and we see this big picture and we think big, right? But we try to narrow it down and bring you down and say, okay, what can be done today? What can be done tomorrow for your business? So you want to go from 0 to 100, but let's take it step by step. So we really focus on the mission and the vision, defining who you are as a business. Personally, I encourage the clients that I work with to really figure out their brand, whether it's a product, if they're selling their own services or whatever, because you are the face of your business. So I think branding is really important. But I think in the beginning stages is getting the things on paper and writing down, you know, 1 week plan, 2 month plan, 1 year plan. And so that when you have that plan, everything is a working document, you know. It can be changed.
It sounds like everything is a work in progress.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, well, I'm just thinking, is it better to be a grand design thinker? Most people, when they come to you with this big idea, are grand design. And then there's the minutia, or the minutia of the small details.
Right.
What person makes the best type of business person, or is there any particular type? The big thinker, or?
It's the big thinker, it's the little thinker, it's the person that has the passion. One of the slogans that Tim Russell, the director of our Renaissance EPA, says is turning your passion into profit. So it's that entrepreneur that really has the passion, because that's what's going to drive you to wake up, like Naomi said, at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30. That's not going to be me. But you know, it's the person that's their passion because something is driving them. If you're just doing it because of the money, it's not going to work. If you just think, oh, I want to get.
Well, do you know, there are people who say, do what you love and the money will follow.
Right.
And I've heard now that that's not necessarily the case. You have to do more than do what you love. So you talk about the passion. You have to be able to back that passion up. That
Right, of
passion
course.
takes you only so far,
Yeah,
right?
right. I mean, it does only take you so far, because you have to have the product that will sell, of course, in any business. But if you don't have that, if you lack that in any capacity, it's not going to work.
So branding, you know, we think of various brands. How would you define branding, and how does one come up with a brand? We heard Naomi talk about envy.
Right.
Now, is envy the brand?
Yeah, I think that it's part of the brand. I think that she is the brand. She came in and looked amazing. She had, she lives it every day. She had the bright neon and the bright blue, and you know, that's when she's out, she's walking marketing for herself. I think branding is definitely, you know, the essentials, the obvious things such as a logo is important. Your name is really important. A website is essential. Definitely social media presence. I think we've gone away from so much of like writing certain things. I think it's more, people are visual. So I think having an online presence, even like a YouTube channel for certain types of businesses. But the branding is a little bit different than marketing. Marketing is a lot of the things that you do to promote or advertise your business. The branding is who you're representing and who you're saying your business is.
And how do you gain that credibility? Naomi said that there were just so many businesses out there and people may have been burnt. So how do you then strengthen your own credibility, especially when you're just starting out?
When you're just starting out, it's going to take time. She's gonna, have challenges or things, mishaps that might happen, and it happens. I think being consistent is huge. Maybe having reviews, asking people to review your product or to review your services on Yelp or other avenues. Getting the people that believe in your product or your business to, back you, basically.
Are people, she didn't mention being on Amazon, but are business owners who start out, are they encouraged to go that route to try and sell on large sites like Amazon? Or to set up their own websites and to sell from their websites?
Yeah, definitely. We encourage all of our clients to set up their own websites.
And sell from their website?
Sell from their website.
We go through a PayPal or have a transactional web page where they could accept money themselves?
It's really preference of what they want. We know PayPal and how it works and encourage them to use PayPal. And then they could also sell through Etsy, which is another online. And then they could sell through Instagram, pop-ups, different things.
What else would you recommend for those starting out?
In general or for online business?
In general, for online business, anything that you think it's important to share?
Definitely have a network of resources. I think that's huge, of knowing what help is out there. A lot of times we see people, not necessarily at Renaissance, but just in general, try to start something on their own, get frustrated, and give up. I think that there's so many resources out there that people just don't know about.
For example?
For example, Renaissance. We're a resource that maybe some people, but
for training.
For training.
And for launching your business.
For business plans. There's the SBA.
We could start with the free resources first.
Right, exactly. There's different workshops, there's business development, there's trainings on different software that, technology that businesses might want to use, like QuickBooks and certain things. So I think just, Google is a huge resource for people, but going beyond that and finding out where you're at and in your community, what you can really benefit from.
Now, when you talk about resources and you mention Google, I'm thinking, should you even go on there first and decide, okay, this is the business that I want. What other businesses are there out there like what I want to do?
Right. Yes, definitely. I would definitely suggest that people who have ideas would do that.
And then how you might distinguish yourself.
Yep.
And when you talk about a network of resources, that's in terms of training. What else would be within that network of resources?
Network of resources, so there's another nonprofit out of Redwood City called Moms in Business Collective, and it was founded through two women who came through Renaissance and wanted to start a nonprofit to help moms who were in business, because they were both in business for themselves, and they were seeing the struggles and the barriers and the things, and so they wanted to be able to have a network. And so they created this nonprofit called Moms in Business Collective, and they're membership based, and they have networking events. They have monthly meetings where women who are business owners and moms get to come together, and I can find out that maybe you do accounting or some type of service that I'm in need of, so we exchange information, and or maybe I'm going through a certain struggle in my business that you've already gone through. So that's when I say resources, that's what I mean, is just having that network of people that you can really count on and have support with.
So we talked about, the climate now. And I think you might have said it's good, and at the same time, there are plus and minuses.
Yeah, I think right now is is a great time to be an entrepreneur. I think that there's so many avenues that people can sell their product through pop-ups, online, social media, apps. But then there's also the challenges as well that come with that, the credibility. So you create your online presence or your app or your online store, then you have to build your client base and your credibility. And there's challenges that come with that as well. If you're looking more to have a brick and mortar storefront, then you're faced in this area, in the Bay Area, with many challenges. The cost of commercial space, of affordable commercial space, caterers, the lack of commercial kitchen space, and affordable commercial kitchen space, business owners not being able to afford to live where their businesses are. So I know personally, not somebody who came through Renaissance, but I know a business owner who commutes from the Bay Area into Modesto every day to run their business because
Is the business in Modesto? Oh,
the business is here, but they can't afford to live here. So
Oh, well, that's kind of hard to run a business, is it? I mean, you can't expect. What kind of business is it?
the
Because I'm-
restaurant,
Oh,
yeah,
well, you can really work very long hours in a restaurant,
yes,
and then to have to commute
they have to commute.
to Modesto, which is what, 2 hours away, or?
It's about an hour and a half with no traffic, but there's never no traffic in the Bay.
So how is their business doing? That's a difficult one.
Yeah, the business is doing okay. They have people in place, staff.
So in a case like that, why not just start it where you live? Yes, if you live in Modesto, why not just start the business in Modesto?
Well, they didn't live there when they started the
Oh.
business. They got moved out because of they can't afford to live.
Yes.
Yes.
So, in the time that we have left, what would you like to share that we haven't talked about, or to emphasize something that we've already talked about?
I think we hit a lot of things, a lot of the important things about the struggles of entrepreneurship. If I can think of anything to share or talk about is don't let the risks keep you from doing your dream. I definitely think I've been in that position myself when my husband first decided to launch out and become his own agent. I wasn't exactly thrilled. We had young children and we needed income and we needed medical and things like that. So I was like, well, how's this going to work? And I think knowing the mindset of, okay, when you start a business, you're not going to make revenue for, I would say, the first 2 years. And so either setting up or figuring out a plan on how you're going to make ends meet. And sometimes, like I said, you're working full-time jobs and on top of your other job.
Well, running a business can be risky, but as Crystal said, it's a great time to do it, and don't let the challenges keep you from your dream. Crystal, thank you so much. Very much appreciate it, and I'd like to thank our viewers for watching. Until next time.